Welcome back to part 2. So stick with me today. We're going to be not only completing the second half of the big mural that we're doing in Crosskeys, we are going to be going in depth, slightly more in depth. We're going to be doing some spray painting techniques. We're even going to have a go at using a VR headset to see, if that makes things a little easier to mark things out. So we're going to try that out, and also hopefully I'm going to show you how I do things. And you don't have to do it the same way as me. This is just the way I do things, and maybe it'll help, maybe it won't, we'll see. But first, here's a little catch up of how we got to where we are so far. When we do large murals like this, a lot of the background is done with masonry paint, applied with a roller or a brush, that Julie is doing here. The next stage after that then will be the more interesting part, which consists of marking out the artwork, spray painting, and just doing all those fine details. The whole thing is built up layer upon layer, starting with the background, all the base colours, then layering details on top until you get the full picture. So here I'm just working on the background first, and what I'm actually doing here is painting in some hedgerows. Just to give that, just to give the illusion of a rolling hill. It helps putting things like hedgerows and trees in, just to give that illusion of depth. So each side of the mural, on the one side I had it representing the local beauty spot, the Sowie Valley Country Walk. And on this side I represented another local beauty spot, which was the Forest Drive. So here I'm just painting in some trees. Back to the Sowie Valley Country Walk again. And this is one of my favourite things of doing these kinds of murals, is the clouds. You can have a lot of fun painting clouds. I mean, you don't have to be precise. You can just have a bit of fun with them, mess around, see what works, what doesn't. So the trees on this side were quite large, so I decided to give them more of a graphic look rather than complete realism. Sometimes I think doing that helps separate some of the more detailed things from the background. I mean, we could have done it all absolutely completely realistic, but it probably would have taken another month. I'm using the tiny pink stencil cap here just to get some fine highlights on some trees. So when I'm painting something like this, now this here is going to be a kingfisher. When I'm painting something like this, I always start with the outline first. Now there are a bunch of different ways you can get your outline on the wall. I mean, it helps if you're good at drawing. so that's a good start. But it doesn't matter if you're not, because there are different methods. You could use a projector, you could use a grid method. We've all seen grids being used. And there's also the doodle grid. I mean, lots of artists, if you've watched a lot of YouTube videos, you've seen a lot of artists use doodle grids. You probably don't understand how they work. I will do a video on them. I know I keep saying I will, but I will do one eventually. So there's the doodle grid method, there's a normal, there's standard grid, there's the projector, or you could freehand it. This one I did a version of the doodle grid that I did with tape, marked it all out first with a white Posca, and then I've gone over with black, over the lines I've made with a white Posca, I've gone over them, I've then gone over with black spray paint, and that'll give me a nicely defined outline to start filling in my colours. Now you won't see much of the black outline left after I put the colours in. It's just there to define the certain areas of the bird. So the next stage now is adding a little bit of colour in. Now, spray cans are pretty versatile, but the one drawback is there's only so fine you can go with the details, because you're limited to what you can do with the cap. Now, the spray can has a certain amount of pressure in it. When you depress the cap, that pressure is released and the paint comes out pretty consistently if it's good, you know, if it's good spray paint. But what you can't do so much is control the amount of pressure that's released. So pretty much you can get a cap that has a thin nozzle, then it's going to shoot a lot of paint out really thin, which means you're going to get a lot of paint in one area and then you'll have drips. Or you can get a cap that has a wider tip on it, a fat cap for example, that will give you a wider area for covering sort of large spaces. Same amount of paint comes out, but much wider. Now if you want to get fine details, the smallest you can go on the caps is the range of skinny caps. Now you can go down to a level 1 skinny cap is a good skinny cap to use. Or my preferred skinny cap is the loop stock cap. I find combined with a loop paint, I can get a really controlled, nice thin line. But if you want to go even thinner, you can use this device here. Now this is a very sort of war ravaged version. They are usually pink. This one is, let's just say, psychedelic. So what this does is it fits over the can like this. It has a little hole which only allows a certain amount of paint out. Now you can make this hole different sizes. The hole it comes with I find is too small, so I bored it out a little bit, and that gives me a nice sized output. So the output then gives you a much thinner line. There's obviously, like I said, you can't control how much paint comes out of the can, so there's going to be excess paint, which then collects down inside this, I don't know if you can see this, down inside a little reservoir, which fills up and then you tip away. Now I use these sparingly because there's a lot of paint wastage, and as I said, it's only for the finest of details. But nevertheless, it's quite a helpful device. A good colour to keep in your arsenal, even though I use it sparingly, is, well, actually the range of transparent colours are always good to have them, particularly transparent white and transparent black. So I'll be using a little bit of transparent white on you. Now the thing is with transparent white and transparent black, or shadow black as it's sometimes called, is you've got to use them sparingly, because if you use them too much they can desaturate your image. So use them sparingly. Right now I'm going to be using a little bit of this just to put a little highlight on this black here. Where normally I would have to use different grades of grey, I can just take one can, use a little bit of transparent white, and the more you add, the lighter it gets. A bit like using airbrush, a white airbrush paint or something like that. So you see, just a little bit, and that's enough. That's all you need. This lasts me ages because like I said, I use it sparingly. So this part of the mural was one of the old style photograph sections, and I've got an image of an old street from the area on my phone, and I'm trying to replicate it as best I can. It's not an easy thing to do with spray paint, and even though this video is speeded up, you can see it still looks painfully slow. So yeah, as I said, I've got the reference image in my hand, and sometimes I don't even know what I'm painting when I'm that close to it until I step back and go, wow, I've just painted a door. So yeah, but I like the effect. Excuse me, mate. No thanks to you. Yeah, so here I was asked to paint some local celebrities. I say celebrities, local, well-known people that have, known for their sporting achievements, which I enjoy doing immensely. Painting faces is always good fun. There's always worrying you're not going to catch the likeness just right, and you're never going to please everybody, especially if you don't, you're not familiar with the individuals and you're only working off photographs. All you can do is paint what you see on the photograph. So I'm quite happy with how they came out, especially as painting this particular size. I mean, if you paint a face a certain size, there's a threshold. Too small and it's really difficult to paint with spray paint. Too big, and obviously you've got scaling issues and orientation and things like that. But this size I'm painting now is quite a difficult size to paint. A little bit bigger would have been a lot easier, But there you go. We got them in, and I'm happy with how they came out. this section sort of picture postcard style to separate it from the background. So I'm going to be trying something a bit different today. I'm going to be using this device, the Quest 2, because there's an app on there that allows you to project your image onto the wall to work out all your initial lines and sketching out. It's supposed to speed up that part of it. I don't know if it actually works. I've never actually tried it in the wild yet, you know, so that remains to be seen. This is the Quest 2. It probably works better on the Quest 3, but the app was designed for the Quest 2 before the Quest 3 existed, so it should work okay. We'll see. So a few things I found with this device as I was using it. I mean, I'm using it here for the first time, but I noticed, I mean, although it looks as if I'm doing the lines, you know, pretty confidently, and you know, they seem to be in the right place, and they were, but through the headset it was an absolute nightmare. I mean, I was drawing a line, and through the headset that line was just turning into wavy spaghetti. So if you notice, every now and again I'm sort of removing my headset like now, and yeah, so just to see what I've done, or see if the line I just done was in the right place. It wasn't a good experience using this headset. Whenever I'm painting outside, there isn't a day that goes by without somebody saying things like, oh, it's nice, but wait till the kids start painting on it, or I hope nobody tags it, you know, the usual kind of thing, and how long is that gonna last? Well, you can't, unfortunately, you just can't stop people doing terrible things. I mean, there are precautions you can take. The reasons we do these murals a lot of the time is to discourage, you know, vandalism. But when it does happen, one of the things we can do is apply an anti-graffiti clear coat. Now, this is what we are doing today. what that does is it puts a barrier on top of the work that will prevent any further paint from adhering to this surface. So if some little oik does come along and tag it, then you know it's just a matter of jet washing it off. So yeah, so to answer all your questions which I hear every day about what you're going to do when somebody tags it, blah 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 blah, honestly every single day, then that is one of the things we can do. Well, I think that'll do it. So there we have it. This project has taken about a month. It's been quite a fun project. I've enjoyed it. This, I mean, maybe I could have done it a tiny little bit quicker if I wasn't stopped and chatted to by all the passers-by. But that's fine. That's all part of muraling outside in the public. People are going to want to come up to you and talk to you. That's fine. It's great that people are interested, you know. It's good that people are interested in murals and what's happening in the community. It could be a lot worse. You could be met with total indifference, or even worse, you know, hostility. But you know, it's a plus that people are coming up and they want to engage and chat and talk about what you're doing. So that is a plus. So yeah, we're gonna have a look at it now. We're gonna look at what we've done. Hopefully, I mean, it's a really sunny day and the whole thing is in shadow, so I don't know how good it's going to look with this GoPro, but here it is.